Oh, early on. Right. And I set out some time this morning to, and I actually sat down and prepped a little bit.
That's good. So here we are on Career Call with the Scooters, and we're with Nathan Wadding from Skinny Time Media. And of course, he's not only early, but he's also talking prior to any questions being asked, as it always is. So that's good. Hi, Nathan.
Hello. This is a great idea. I'm glad to be participating in it. I think this is you two at your finest. So this idea is great.
Did you get that cash transfer we just sent to you for saying?
No, hold on. Let me check. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I should be there any minute now.
All right. So you started talking. So what's been going on? You were talking about not being as big as the other guys.
Yeah, as a small business, we're not impacted we don't have as much impact for the amount of people we have hired and our clients and just in the world. We only create smaller ripples, not big ripples. But it's interesting to be in these times that we're in this situation, because you still are faced with the ethical decisions of how are we going to treat the people that work for us.
Right.
Are we going to lay off? Are we going to use the unemployment system to get through this, or are we not? How are we going to organize around the idea of a client freezing payment to us for 30 days? How are we going to get around? I mean, this is a great one that Jamie, my business partner, and I had a conversation about on Monday last week. I signed a scope with a client to begin work, to start doing discovery for their culture, to help them with their employer branding. And we signed a scope 2 Fridays ago, or Friday before this all started. And for a small business, you're like, all right, let's get that first invoice out the door, right? And we had to have a conversation like, is this the ethical thing to do?
Right.
No, we begin. We're basically stalled. We can't go into their office. We had a kickoff call. We sort of paused the work, but that invoice sitting there, I've already, in this sort of strategy game, before you even get to the invoice and scope part, you've already got some billable hours to get the business. And this is how you stay alive pipeline whenever you have your pipeline. So we had to say, does this feel right? And so I think when I'm reading the news this morning about the government and their slush fund with corporations and having not allowing companies to do buybacks of their stock and creating creating maybe this opportunity for some people to see this time as something they can benefit from, is really, it's unsettling. And I think it comes down to how do you feel about the individual decisions you're making? And we decided that it wasn't fair of us to invoice them until we begin. But that's a hard argument to make. It's just what feels right for us. And then I continue to have a call with them quickly in the last 2 mornings or last 2 weeks to say, okay, when do we think we're going to start? Are you ready? How do you feel about this work? And we both came to the conclusion, that the client and I, that we can't begin this work yet. It doesn't make any sense right now. So those are the small little decisions that you face well, not every day. And people are getting to call this time, people are saying business as usual, and it's not business as usual. And we shouldn't normalize those things. So in this unusual time that we're facing, I think you have to answer those questions.
No, I agree with that. Besides that, are you still doing film production? Are you more into, what's your scope right now in terms of business? What are you guys looking at?
Well, I mean, we're doing a good amount of work that is strategy, and we're developing out some new processes and some new things that are really close to my passion as an individual and that company culture in your organization. And so doing more strategy work and understanding who the culture is, and taking what we're standing up some products and calling them your culture pulse, right? What are the aspects of your culture, and how do your employees feel about the engagement that is what they call work? And this to me is this pandemic work now is we're all working from home. And I think I just got we're going to thing in Pennsylvania here where we're, shelter in place, no leaving the house soon. and this whole idea of work is fascinating to me. But for as far as video production, yeah, that's how we execute on the strategies and how we build tools around engagement and communication. And the first time this happened, we had our corporate clients were like, sorry, no one's coming in the office. So anything we had in the pipeline got paused and put on hold.
Yeah.
Because the offices were closed down and nobody wanted to sort of be seen creating content or creating stories in this climate. It just was in bad taste in the beginning. So what we've been spinning to do, not really spinning, but really trying to add value and help for our clients, is to say, hey, you have a lot of employees that still need to know what's going on, and even if it's just we're meaning making machines as humans, meaning we look for ways to make meaning and make purpose and make sense of the world that's in really in some uncharted territory now, and sort of this new reality we're in. So it is okay for corporations to have an opinion, and it is okay for your leaders to come on and if at anything, just give you updates and just try to give their people some anchor to look at one part of their life and have some stability. And so, we're using stock footage and using Zoom recordings and Skype meetings to record messages with people, trying to do makeshift teleprompters and helping executives give messages so that their teams can be connected. Because there's at a larger scale, you can't just do a Zoom meeting with everybody, right? But how can you create a strategy and a communications cascade around the messages of the day so you can continue some normalcy, right? So you know what's happening in your update within your organization. So we've been trying to push more towards that when the feeling is right with clients, because we don't want to look like we're shoving business and trying to just generate business, but we're here to help people communicate right now.
Right.
How fast do you find yourself having to adjust? Meaning, like, how often do you feel like you need to reach out to them, or is it depending on what's happening in the news, or is it just strategic amongst you and Jamie? How quickly do you feel like you have to adapt with what's going on?
It's strategic. I mean, I just look at my own behaviors, and whenever I'm getting emails from, the company I bought a hat from once to say, hey, during this time, I'm like, I don't care about, you know what I mean? Like, really, I'm glad you feel the need to communicate to me, but I don't think this is the right venue for that. So they've been, most of our relationships with our clients we try to make them from a value standpoint very personal. So checking in on them, making sure they're okay, and knowing if they need anything that we can help them with, and that we're here for them if they need anything. And then just to give a suggestion, because that's part of this business that we're in, is just we see the world differently than our clients do sometimes. So just giving them information, saying, this is how we could help you if you need us. So just let us know. We're going to hang out here for a while. I'm going to ping you in a couple of weeks just to make sure everything's okay. But it really depends on whether you have work in the pipeline with them, or whether whether you sit at the table with them for strategy, or you're just a resource for them. That answer your question?
Yeah, you did a great job.
Here you go. Was it a great job? I'm just kidding.
I'm feeling friendly today on a Monday.
Aw, I like that picture behind you.
I drew it.
I always like when the horizons are changed, the planes are changed, so to have numbers sort of sideways, and then the horizon line there, and hard lines too. I like that.
Good. I'm happy you're happy.
I'll send it to you as a gift.
I will.
It'll be your
just take that picture and send it to me. I'll make it my
quarantine gift.
exactly. You have two daughters. So
Yeah.
and you're off of school. How's that been, being at home working and having the girls?
My teenager, she does social distancing constantly from me. She's 15, and she's constantly social distancing from me. So she's fine. She just needs me to not change my my Netflix login. That's all. As long as I don't change my Netflix login, my Amazon login, my Hulu login, she's good.
She's good.
That's good.
My younger daughter, she's 11, Jilly. Her and I have been hanging out. She's watching Jojo Rabbit right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched it, and she needed to see it, so I think it's fun for her. That movie will be good for her to see. Other than that, we try to structure our day. So I'm a firm believer in still having structure. So the first 3 days or week or so, I let it sort of just be. I let it all breathe and let it just happen and sit. But for me, I like there to be structure. So I went through this when I started my business 6 years ago. I got laid off. I didn't have any money to do anything, so it didn't much matter. So I can't go to the gym. So it's the comparisons I can hang in, right? So I couldn't go to the gym whenever I was unemployed and had no money because I couldn't afford it. Now I can't go to the gym because you're not allowed. So that's whenever I started distance running and into activities like that I didn't have to pay for or go anywhere and do. But at that point, it was getting up in the morning and creating a structure for myself, and then falling in line. It's helpful now for me. Get up, get dressed, put shoes on, and I even switch coffee mugs as though I was. Some of the tricks I learned, because this is my bedroom now and my pseudo office now, but this is where Jamie and I started our skinny tie from, was my very back room. So it's 6 years later, it's come full circle for me. And I'm literally, I was going to post something later today or tomorrow. I'm literally 12 feet from my refrigerator. It's about 14 feet from my couch. And at the time I was 20 feet from my bed. So doing those calculations whenever I was having to motivate myself to work was interesting. So.
Wow. It's unbelievable. A lot of things do come full circle whenever everything kind of just gets very, very structured and everything else is taken away. So it's,
yeah.
So when they say it's the new normal, how long do you think this thing is going to last? We just got the stay from home update about 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago. So,
I don't know. I don't think my kids will go back to school. I think we're looking at 3 to 4 months. And, it depends on how quickly people respond. I saw pictures today from North Park here in Pennsylvania. I saw them. There were still people out like it was normal. And I couldn't believe it. You don't know what's happening outside with people in their heads, if they believe what's happening or if they don't want what happened to them, and they don't understand the social implications. They're being in contact with other people. It fundamentally, it makes you question. I think about it this way. There's an interesting, I don't know, you were one of the first people, Jennifer, told me that I think to how deeply I think about things. It's like at a crosswalk, right? I've been to other countries, and I see how even in transportation, I was in Kenya last summer, and one of the people I met there, he had traveled to the United States. Trust me, I'm getting over this, I promise. I'm getting around about all the way around.
That's all right.
And he said, I said, what did you find the most amazing about being in States? And he said, there's such order to things. He said, there is an order to how things happen. And it's so sort of structured, right? And being in other countries like that, where there's no rules. You just do whatever you need to do for you to stay alive. And so that moment, I knew that's a social contract. We all have trust with each other that we're going to do the right thing. So to me, that whole conversation comes up with me whenever I'm at a stoplight, and Pittsburgh is notorious for this. I'm a pedestrian and I'm in an intersection, and I don't have the walking man, and there's no one coming, right? And I look both ways, and I can go, and I have this moral question with myself to say, I'm expecting traffic to obey their signal. If I don't obey mine, I am betraying that trust I have in the driver of the car, right? So if I obey that trust, this is where this stuff starts to fall apart. That's a crosswalk, right? When dealing with this situation, trusting each other to really do the right thing, and even interpreting what the right thing is, it's confusing for some people right now. So this is where having time to anchor inside of yourself and really follow your values is important. And this happened to me yesterday. I went to the soccer field. I wanted to soccer, and there were people on the field. There were people on the field. They were all further apart than 6 feet. But the gate was locked, and there was a sign, albeit there was a bunch of signs just for normal life but there was one that said that it was closed due to the outbreak. And there was a way I could have just underneath the fence. I could have laid down and rolled in and been in the park. And I was faced with this moment of, what do I do? What do I do? And for me, it's upholding that trust for everybody. And that I get in my car and I go find a patch of green somewhere at the corner of a baseball field, and I go there, right? Because it didn't feel right to violate that trust. So, and that's, to me, that's more important than anything. So there, did I answer that?
Yeah.
What was the question?
Pretty much what I was doing.
No, you did. I mean, you totally answered the question. I think when it comes down to trust, it is who do you trust? I think with all of the news and all of the media and how it's just this whole barrage of who knows what the absolute truth is, and is there an absolute truth? And so when you talk about trust, I'm the person that traffic's going 1,000 miles a minute and I'm still like, I can make it, and I'll blow through.
Right. It's a sliding scale. Don't get me wrong. I'm not always like, it depends on where I'm going. Like if I'm going to a meeting and I'm late for it, traditionally I am, then I'm going to skirt to traffic. But I always think about that, and I take a moment, and that's a choice I have at that point in time to break that contract. But again, I think those things, how anyone else operates and thinks, I don't presume to know or assume to know. I think everyone is doing their best in life. But that's how I like to, what did you say? Not the ultimate truth, but you said,
absolute truth.
Absolute truth. And I think it's relative to justification is the second evil to mankind, but after free choice. But I think that sits with me to be a good citizen, that truth. So, but it's hard with the leaders. I don't have faith in what's coming out of the White House. The president, having him dress down order, because he basically asked, how should Americans be thinking about this and feeling about this? He dressed down, and that one press conference last week was just moral guidance there at all. So
no, it's a weird time. We are living in a very weird time. And speaking of that, is there anybody that you're paying attention to in terms of charities or nonprofits that you guys are doing? I know you guys do a lot of give back. Are you involved?
I'm Light of Life. I still give. I give to QED. I'm on the community outreach board at QED. Junior Achievement is an organization that I'm involved with. But honestly, I had to send. So I'm taking a breath to see where my attention should be going. If it's donating my time or handing out food, I'm trying to find what I should be doing right now. And right now, I think it's just being quiet and staying at home and still continuing the contributions of money when I can, supporting small businesses when I can. I had to send out some really hard emails to my daughter's piano class and my daughter's boxing class, and they're all small, or boxing gym, and they're all small companies. And I had to send out an email and say, look, I have to suspend giving you money right now because A, they can't leave the house, and B, I don't know how long this is going to last, and I'm a small too, and it really I didn't feel good to it, but I had to, and I thought long and hard before I did it, but I had to do it. But I want to give, and I want to do things other than the financial obligations that I'm continuing. I don't know if I know what to do quite yet or how to help. I keep hoping for the establishments that we have that are our support structures to say, hey, we need you to go over here and dig a ditch. We need you to go over here and get tested so you can deliver food to the needy, or whatever. I keep waiting for this unified effort, and it hasn't come yet. So I don't know as the weeks go on.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good things, and I think you're smart to wait and watch, and you have and you have 2 young girls, and you have a small business, and I think you have a lot of responsibility there. So you're right. It's the attention needs to be there first.
Yeah, and I'm trying to, our people have families and kids too, so we're trying to, take care of those things and really try to find our footing. And I think, I was having a Zoom meeting with a group that I meet with, and they were talking about this being a new abnormal, and it's okay, and to take a minute and sort of find your feet and to let people have this time to sort of take a breath and admit, what they're struggling with, and admit that they just don't know.
Right.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But I saw some really great stuff. People were taking, they have on the Run Bells, the book, take a book, leave a book.
Yeah.
That's leaving food in there, which I thought was really great.
it is really cool. It's really cool. So our one last question is, are you making any kind of amazing food? Is there a new recipe that you're like having every single day? Or are you like starting a new book? I know what kind of reader you are. So is there something new?
Well, there's one book that I'm really excited to start reading, and I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to show it to you because I think it's extremely timely right now.
All right.
But there was an interesting, I became aware of something recently in terms of food. I thought I always cooked. I thought I cooked because I do. I have daughters, and it's important to me that they eat healthy. So I eat clean for myself. But what I became aware of is that I don't cook, prepare food. There's a difference between cooking and preparing. I simply prepare food. That's all I do.
Hey, that works.
Yeah, but cooking's different. And what I also learned about myself is I don't like following recipes. Like guacamole for me is about it. And anything more like scrape this and mix this, I'm just like, yeah, you know how your eyes just literally go blurry and you just drink and you just pull away. That's what I do. I don't even like, I look at a recipe and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I have to go do something else. I want to eat right now. That's all I really want. I want the benefit of this. I just don't want to do the work. Margaritas. I've been squeezing a lot of limes and making a really margarita recently, and guacamole. I think that's it. But no, we've been. I snuck out early and got my allotment of toilet paper and my allotment of food, and so we've been doing that well. But it's interesting now that I've been trying to not eat because I know what that's like when you're in your house with your refrigerator. So really getting to tracking your calorie intake and getting to know that you don't have to eat just because the food is right there and you might be bored. So really, am I bored? Am I thirsty? Or am I hungry? And for me this time, I can get to do the things that I've been trying to do for a long time, but have always let myself get distracted by other things. So I'm to think, in our culture work with organizations, I'm forced to think right now about what this means for the American worker and employment and people's purpose and how that's to change over time. Now, the cult pulses we do, the organizational structure work we do, when you talk about employment and taking care of the whole person, flexibility it has been a big theme of the past 2 years, working with companies like, do they have a flexible work at home policy? Can I leave and take care of my kids? Can I do these types of whole person things? As well as, situation. These are all benefits before. Now we're in a moment's notice, we're here. We're here. And how do we navigate those things? And you know, one of the things we would do in our work was how do you bring your whole self to work, and is your whole self supported by your organization, right? And so it's interesting now is it's the reverse of that, right? I'm allowing work I'm bringing work into my home, right? I'm not bringing my whole self to work. I'm bringing work to my home. And how is that being seen? So I see people who taking a minute, introducing their kids and being, you know, taking care of their family and doing other things. And I see I see the organizations and the people in the rooms, in the Zoom rooms, they're allowing more space for the whole person. So I think it's an interesting, I would have, we all go back in a month, in 2 months, in 3 months, if we have more time and space for the whole person, or whether it just back to normal. I'd like to see it be more of the former, where we're leaving more space for the whole person versus here as a function, and we have a metric to hit, and we're on a spreadsheet somewhere as an individual. So it may be an opportunity to redefine how we see work, and how we see ourselves at work. So those are the things that I've been spending time really digging into, which is fascinating for me.
Well, I think that's incredible. I don't know if you're going to be right on the whole person, taking more time for people, because I think there's a lot of companies that have done a really beautiful job at paying attention to the worker, and you can tell the heart of it. We see in the beauty industry that there's so many companies that have not done a great job of securing their workers and paying attention. We work with a couple companies that have done an excellent job, I think, of really paying attention to their people. But I think it's a shift globally, and it's scary because if it does go on 3-4 months, we just heard that Delaware is on lockdown until May 15th. Yeah, 15th.
Wow.
So, I know. You know, it's like, what is this going to mean? What is this going to say for business as it is? So no, you're right. It's interesting. I don't know if I share your optimism about companies leaving more space for people, but maybe it'll be true. Maybe that'll be the new normal.
Well, I mean, I think that they're not going to have a choice. The knowledge worker, there's the person that can work from anybody, and then there's the person who can't. People who have vocations, and then there's people who have to go to a place and might be hourly, right? They're putting in their time. And, you know, we've already started to see a shift in whether people are engaged in work. And there's been a conversation over the past couple of years, really the past 10 years, an engaged workforce is better for your clients, it's better for your customers, it's better for long-term health. Transition time, if you have a revolving door, there's an implication to your bottom line, knowledge transfer that happens, and time wasted on onboarding new people. So companies have been looking at how do you connect with employees and keep them longer. So I think we've already started some of this work, and some companies already started this work of, hey, what is our agreement other than money for time, right? Are we caring for the person in their development? Are we giving them opportunities to grow? So in the book, Radical Candor talks about this, and you see there's been the tech companies, the tech industry is tech rights, workers' rights there. And just where that revolution is with individual workers. And, I don't want to, you can get into the political conversation too of socialism and Andrew Yang talking about income for all and AI. I mean, we're headed we're headed for something AI that we've never seen before, and it's not going to hit blue collar, hit white collar people harder than anything. That middle class of America continue to get punished. So this just, right, and it's really understanding of saying, what are we doing here? What purpose are we doing? And I think when you have potentially I don't want to use the socialist term as a political term, but socialist in terms of the society at large, the mass of people that look at an employer and say, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to choose to be somewhere else because there is an option for somebody who treats us better and thinks about us the way you're talking about some of the beauty clients and business. You have an option. You don't have to go break your back every day unless you want to. So I think this just adds to the conversation in a way that's unbelievable, and to have a different conversation coming out of this situation, I think will be great. And you've already, if the stimulus package goes through, you're kind of already teetering on socialism there, because it's just money in workers' pockets, right? So I don't know. Political scientists may be able to weigh in more how this changes the fabric of work. So I can go on all day about that.
I know you could. Well, I can see you're Vanna Whiting, I guess is what I should say. Your book. What book is on your lap there, Nathan?
It's called A Time to Build, and it's basically about how the social structure, our social structures, are the organizations that we believed in, the church, the government, businesses, they've failed us, and the time to capture the imagination and to rebuild them is upon us. But it talks about the organizational structure that we've been part of for so long as individuals.
Who's the author of that? You were covering up the.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you didn't do it. Okay.
He was on NPR at an interview that I heard from someone I had coffee with, and we were organizational structures, and she said, you should really read this book. I just became aware of it. So
I'm not reading that. I'm reading Acid for the Children by Flea. So yeah.
I didn't know Flea wrote a book.
He did. It's amazing. I've been talking about this podcast he was on with Malcolm Gladwell and Ruben.
That's the music one.
Yeah, Broken Record.
Yeah, it's really good.
Did an incredible job interviewing Flea. Of course, I'm reading the latest and greatest by Bob Goff, so I'm always kind of balancing, both sides of my brain. So, but it's good. We'll have to check that one out. So,
thank you.
Hey, Courtney, what are you reading? Anything right now?
I actually just started. I didn't even tell you this, Jennifer. You'll be happy that Catch and Kill. Finally, like so late. It's so totally late to the game. So.
Ronan Farrow, his whole investigative report around Weinstein, but it uncovered Matt Lauer. It's incredible, and he has a podcast that goes along with it. And it's probably Ronan is probably one of the most amazing writers. And how long are you?
I'm not that far. I think I'm on like chapter 2 or 3. I'm doing the Audible version, so plug for Audible as well. So yes,
well, plug for Audible. Yeah, no, I read it so you could like smell the pages. But
yep.
What's his
name again?
Ronan Farrow. He's Mia Farrow's son.
Okay, Ronan, got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
We won't talk about his dad.
Yeah, we won't.
Yeah. Who he was just published, by the way. Somebody else picked him up, and he was just published, his memoir. So it's amazing what people do for money.
Exactly.
Anyway, thank you, Nathan. And if this goes on longer, we'll bring you back we'll do a live stream, and we'll do a strategy session for small companies. How about that?
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. This is awesome.
Thank you. Thanks, Nathan.
Thank you. Have a good day. See you later.
Okay, bye.